one other thing from the All-Star break is that Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, does like a media availability and gets, hit with a million different questions from a million different writers. Some of which, I think it might have been Phil Miller who asked him.
I think this was Phil asking him the questions.
Yeah, the twin stuff. Oh, to be a commissioner and to be asked questions by Phil Miller. That is the dream of any man. So I wanted to read a couple of them because it's relevant. He was asked basically about the ongoing sale efforts from the Poleads to sell the team, and we're in I feel like we're past 9 months. This thing would have been born already if it was a pregnancy, right? I mean, what?
It was October, right? Or October, November, early November when they first announced it.
We'd be tracking
not quite 9 months, but close. Yeah,
we'd be tracking contractions at the very least, not contraction, which is different from the Poleads.
Right. Yeah, much worse. Yes.
That was 20 years ago.
Right.
They were tracking a different kind of contraction. But so, just for some context, the Rays have been or are being sold for $1.7 billion, which is reportedly what the Twins have been kind of holding out for on their end. He was basically asked, why is this thing taking so long? I can only imagine what the wording of Phil's question was, but who knows? But he was basically asked, why is this thing taking so long? Why has it been in 9 or 10 months? And, he said kind of what we've talked about going back months and months, which is, once the Justin Ishbia situation started progressing where the Twins legitimately thought, and I still think Ishbia was being real with it, but there's some disagreement on that, I guess. But once the Twins thought, hey, we're actually got a guy here in Justin Ishbia who's interested, he's got the money, he's got MLB approval, he started to look at our books and, come check out Target Field, and they were going through the full process with him. And I don't know if they were on the 1 yard line or the 10-yard line, but they were close. And then he just pulled out and went immediately to the White Sox, and then is now going to, own the White Sox in 6 years or 10 years or whatever it is. And so Manfred kind of confirmed what we had talked about or speculated about at that time, which was like 5 months ago or whatever, where he basically said, look, once Ishbia backed out, they had to kind of restart the process here.
Yeah.
Both literally, but also a lot of interested parties had sort of assumed that Ishbia was going to buy it for that price under those terms, whatever it was. And they kind of said, oh, well, we'll move on. We don't need to keep talking about this, basically. And Manfred kind of said, they had to re-engage with those people. They had to get maybe some new people involved, and you had to, if not starting from scratch, at least kind of restart the process. So here was one specific quote from Manfred. He said, quote, I can tell you with a lot of confidence that there will be a transaction there, and it will be consistent with the kind of pricing that has taken place. There will be a transaction. We just need to be patient while they rework. And so basically he's saying it's going to get sold. He's not saying when it's going to get sold, and he's also implying that it will be sold for, let's say 1.7 billion, or consistent with other teams recently, which the Rays are the most recent one.
That is, in fact, sort of his job, like his number one priority, yes, probably in terms of overseeing Major League Baseball teams, is to ensure that when they are sold for a big amount of money, because that's primarily why people are buying Major League Baseball teams. That's why they own Major League Baseball teams. They are buying it for the appreciation, right? And, him saying, everybody had to back off. I mean, I guess that's a nice explanation. I just took a look at when the Patreon episode that we had, the morning after this news broke, we had a Patreon episode with Dan Hayes, who was one of the people who broke the news.
I want to say February.
It was February 22nd is when we recorded that, which meant that the news broke the night of February 21st. And, that puts us at right now 5 months.
Yeah.
That nothing has happened. And at that time, the statement from the Twins was, we're going to need 30 to 60 days. In about 30 to 60 days, we'll give an update on how things are going and what's going on.
How was that update? Do you remember that update?
I don't remember that update. Yeah. So
it's like the Loch Ness Monster, that update. But I will say this, not in their defense, but just it's been, like you said, 5 months basically since that. That does seem like a long time. However, it took 5 months between the time they put the sale up to the time Ishbia backed out is almost exactly 5 months.
Well, I thought they put the sale up in early November because I don't remember it happening like as soon as the season ended. I thought it was like a month into the season, into the off season.
It was either late October, early November. So maybe it's 4.5 months.
So it was 3.5, 4 months. Right. Yeah, exactly. Like,
so that's kind of what I'm saying is like, it does seem a little strange that it has gone on this long. It certainly does not suggest it's gone smoothly, but we know it hasn't gone smoothly for public and private reasons. But I mean, we cautioned this back in November. It's like this sort of thing doesn't get sold on a whim. Like there are so many hoops to jump through legally, from an accounting standpoint, from an approval standpoint. I'm not defending this at all. I think
I get it. You're right.
It's been a mess. And I mean, it doesn't surprise me that the whole thing has turned into a mess. But I don't know that it's taken 4 or 5 months to regroup and, get now, if we reach the end of the season in 3 months, and we're still having this type of conversation, and Manfred's getting interviewed by Phil at the World Series, and he's saying the same stuff.
Right? Yes. Right.
Then it's like, okay, well, I'll call BS on this pretty easily. But though you're right that it's his job to drum up interest on a big picture level, it's his job to portray the teams as an extremely desirable product, asset, whatever, and he's doing all that. But I do think you could do that in a way that isn't quite as blunt in the quote, where he's basically saying a transaction will take place, because that doesn't really leave any room for the Polettes taking it off the market, right? Like I mean, that is the last thing I want, is for the Polettes to keep this team. Sure. But I will take door number 2, sight unseen, over the Polettes at this point. And I think probably most of the people listening would agree with that. But I don't know. I took those quotes with a massive grain of salt, clearly. I mean, I don't trust Manfred as far as I can throw him, but I used to have a gym teacher in elementary school who used to tell us that every day.
I use that phrase all the time.
Yeah, it's just a funny thing to say to like 11-year-olds, like, or like right. Guys are playing dodgeball. They're in 5th grade. You're like, I don't trust you guys as far as I can throw you, and I was like, what? You could probably throw me pretty far. I weigh 70 pounds. Like, what are you talking about? Right. Anyway, but the specificity of his quotes made me think that he does indeed think there will be a sale. And I guess it's sad that we've reached the point where we're 9 months into this thing and we've given up any notion of like, oh, I hope it's a good owner, or even I hope it happens before the trade deadline. Well, that's out the window. I hope it happens before the end of the season. That's probably out the window. Like, now I'm just at the point where I'm like, I hope a sale, just full stop, happens. And his quotes certainly suggest that he thinks that at the bare minimum.
From the beginning of this, we thought the Polettes were motivated sellers.
Yes.
Right. And I'm still of that opinion, that they are motivated sellers. So as a result, no, I am not surprised that Rob Manfred believes that a deal is going to get done. Right. Now, what's frustrating about it from a fan standpoint, I guess what's frustrating about it is, just waiting. Like, it's just, it's just waiting for it to happen one way or the other, which, that is, the Polettes should be waiting until they get the kind of price, I will be interested to see what the final sale price is on this, because my perception is, if we perceive the Polettes as motivated sellers, buyers perceive the Polettes as motivated sellers in this particular case. So, it could be that if you are the seller, you are always sort of like, hurry up and make us an offer. Make us an offer. I wouldn't be shocked if what's going on here is the new buyers who have been identified or who are circling and evaluating things are taking their time to see what kind of price ends up happening. I guess so. On the one hand, I don't trust Manfred, and it doesn't surprise me that he's like, oh, it's going to be sold. But also, I'm also optimistic about it eventually being sold. I don't mean to say my frustration with this process means I don't think it's going to eventually be sold. I do believe it'll eventually be sold. And welcome to the end of this video. There's lots more. For another, just click on one of these boxes.
Or click on this circle in the middle to subscribe to all of our Twins Talk.
Thank you. Gleeman.